Thanks so much for the question. It was an amazing teacher at school. It was my first ever geology class, and the teacher said, now I want you all to take your notebooks out and draw a volcano. And so we all did that, and we all drew this kind of triangle on the piece of paper, and maybe the sun and some houses. We were not, we were quite young at the time. And then she just gave us a couple of minutes, and then she said, okay, I'm gonna draw on the whiteboard your volcano. So you're all drawing this triangle with the sun and a little house on the side, and maybe, I don't know, a dog or something. And many of you are drawing lava coming out of the crater. But what were you not drawing is that, where does that lava coming from? Where is that lava coming from? And so she started then to draw all the inner bits of the volcano. So how the magma chamber sitting inside the volcano was feeding eruptions at the surface, and how magma conduits were bringing that magma from depth to the surface. And she explained how what's happening inside that volcanic system actually controls the development of volcanic eruptions at the surface. And I thought, wow, that's so cool. And I was hooked. I loved volcanoes and trying to understand them better, so I really wanted to be an academic, and that's why my job is wonderful for me. But there's so many things you can do in earth sciences that it's always nice to know all the options you can have as well. So many. So if you're an earth scientist, you can apply different basic sciences like maths, physics, chemistry to resolve different natural questions, and to get to better understand how the environment works. So for example, if you want to get new lithium, and you want to find copper to fuel our electric cars for our sustainable future, you need to know where they accumulate in the earth, and for that you need to be an earth scientist. Thanks for the question. Petrology is a study of rocks, and so when we study volcanoes, we look at them from so many perspectives, and one of the ways to look at them is to look at rocks that come from previous eruptions and hold secrets on how the volcano works inside, and tell us about the behavior or the personality of a particular volcano in the past, and therefore how can it behave in the future. Yes, that's a great question. In volcanology, we need to put together information from so many perspectives. And so, for example, we study rocks from past eruptions in the laboratories, but we compare that with data that comes from earthquakes, for example, because as the magma moves to the surface, it pushes the rocks apart and it generates earthquakes that we can detect at the surface. We work with people who look at the chemistry of gases coming out of crater, and we of course are very interested in handling big data and looking at many different data sets and comparing them together. So absolutely yes. Well, it's been a wonderful journey. I really have enjoyed living in different places and meeting different people and learning from different institutions. And I found Australia extremely welcoming. So I've been here for 6 years now, and I'm really, really happy. That's a great question. It's not easy to tell when a volcano will next erupt, but thankfully many of the very active volcanoes on Earth are very well monitored. So we know, for example, if magma is moving towards the surface because it typically pushes rocks apart, generating earthquakes, and we can measure them at the surface. We also know if the ground is deforming a little bit by millimeters to centimeters, using, for example, satellites. So to measure ground deformation, and then we can see we can interpret what's going on underneath. And we can also measure the gas coming out of the crater, and the chemistry of the gas changes if new magma is coming in as well. So considering all that information that we take on the spot in real time, and knowing how the volcano has behaved in the past, what's its framework or personality, then that we are best prepared to forecast future activity. But this is difficult, and this is why we are busy and we have a lot of work to do. Yeah, I've been very fortunate to travel to many active systems and also extinct volcanoes, and I love them all. I've enjoyed very much seeing Stromboli in Italy erupting when I was there, and it was safe because it was not a very explosive eruption, and this volcano erupts more or less every 10 minutes. So that was very special to see it erupt, but more than seeing the eruption, because we've seen it on pictures, the noise, is the rumbles. That is very breathtaking and it's very special. Yes, so the crystals we look at are very, very tiny, typically smaller than a grain of salt. When they are really big, we call them megacrysts. And when they're very big, they are like a chickpea. So that's our megacryst size. So they're not very big at all. And they can go really, really small, like tiny, tiny, tiny. So yeah, a variety, but all quite small. But because we use microscopes and advanced analytical techniques in the lab, we can kind of look at them with an expanded view and extract their secrets on how volcanoes work before eruptions. So I do love communicating with the public and engaging with people of all ages and background, because I think it's important that we bring back our scientific results to the public, because they make an impact on people. So that's very important for me. And in regards of the SCOPE episode, it's because we published a paper on how we use volcanic crystals to probe inside volcanoes and get to know why they are triggered to erupt. And so that got a lot of attention internationally, and SCOPE was interested in bringing it to the kids. So that was really a fun experience. I loved it. Yes, thanks for the question. That's wonderful. I love that I pursued a STEM career. And I remember when I went to, after having this amazing experience with my teacher, which made me realize I really wanted to be a volcanologist. I got to go to uni, and I was like choosing, and I had to do geology or a science, but I was like, is this something that's going to give me a job? Really? Like, volcanology sounds amazing, but my mom told me, do what you love and you'll be fine. Do what you're passionate about and you'll succeed. You will be happy. Because if you're passionate about something, you enjoy doing it and you do it well. So I always say that my mom is the best mentor and role model, and I'm very happy I followed her advice. And I tell everyone to always do what their passion is, because they will do it with care and with interest and with energy, and they will be very happy. So absolutely.